Madrid.
I wouldn't take that, dog. I wouldn't take that. I would feel so bad, bro.
With you sticking with the Suns for this long, you kind of deserve it, bro. Just go to one game at least.
I'm happy for you, bro.
I know.
I really am, bro. At first, I was kind of like pressed. Y'all beat us, but no, I'm happy for you guys. No, I'm really happy, bro. That's good. The city was turned the day that when they got in the airport, bro.
I thought about going, but I was like, nah, I'm not vaccinated yet, bro. I'm not gonna do that. That seems a little wild.
That was a smart choice, bro.
That shit was crazy, bro. I was like,
I was worried about
all watching it from. Most of them were already watching it at the stadium, so they just went all together.
I was surprised. CP just had COVID, right? So he was just chilling out there.
He was in protocol or something like that. I heard.
And they was just like wall to like person to person, standing there, touching them. Like I was like, bro, y'all about to ruin this, bro. Y'all about to get sick, bro. Somebody doing too much. Relax.
Y'all lose D Book, it's all bad type shit.
If we lose D Book, I swear to God, I'll boycott it, bro. I will not watch it. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'll definitely watch it.
There's no way they took Booker out. They couldn't. Like
Giannis is listed as doubtful for game 1.
I don't think he should play. I really don't. Not for game 1. If we're
bias, bro. Be real.
No bias. I'm on camera right now. My honest recording. No bias. When we saw him, how the injury, the way his knee went hyperextended inward. Okay, I'm sure they took an X-ray. They had no structural damage. All right, but cool. It hasn't. The way playoffs work, you go game, day off, game, day off, game, day off. So you can easily run through 4 games or 3 games in a week. You know what I mean? So, and if you give a guy a week to come back from an injury like that, he'll probably be okay. But in that span, you've already missed 3 games. So he missed 2 already. Missed 1 more. That gives him like a week of rest. And then by game 2, you could probably, if at worst, you could probably take like a shot or something, to make sure you're ready to go for game 2. And if you play through game 2 and you're fine, you go back home, you got momentum, and then go from there. That's what I would do coaching wise, because I don't think you necessarily you don't need Giannis in order to get a game from Phoenix. Okay. If you want to beat Giannis, if you want to beat the Suns in 7, you need Giannis.
Yeah.
But if you want to get a game, you don't need Giannis to get a game. Because the Bucks, the Suns beat the Bucks 2 times we saw them this season, and we only beat them by 1 point. Giannis didn't play. I'm pretty sure Giannis didn't play in one of those games. So we just saw what they did to the Hawks. Okay, the Hawks have a pretty similar style team to what we have here in Phoenix. Okay, they have a kind of traditional big who our big has a little bit more offensive game than Atlanta's does, but they have a point guard and that runs everything, and they've got some shooters who can create their own shots if they need to, and can hit spot up threes. And that's pretty much how their starting 5 is, and that's consistently what we have on the Phoenix Suns. So if I've just seen what Brook Lopez can do, because I know he's a big dude, he'll probably give Ayton a little bit of trouble just because he is 7'2" He's got an offensive game presence. He can drag Ayton out of the paint because he can shoot threes. He's not the greatest 3-point shooter, but he's got a respectable jumper. You got to watch, Brook Lopez on the 3 line. So I could see very, very easily without them having Giannis, Milwaukee getting a game, because if Chris Middleton is going to show up and be who he's shown me to be in the last 2 games, if Jrue Holiday is going to enjoy his more offensive role, being able to run his own pieces, get his own places, he's not worrying about deferring to Giannis as much. It very well could be, 0-1 Phoenix coming out of game 1, or it could get. I honestly don't. I'm not saying that either one has a set advantage. I think a 2-time league MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year gives you an advantage. I still think that a chance even with him on the court, because there are arguments going on whether you think they're valid or not about whether or not Milwaukee is a better team or runs a better offensive scheme without Giannis in the game. I think the validity of some of those arguments. I think it's also kind of insane that we're having that talk, about a 2-time league MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, and whether or not his team is better without him. It just seems kind of just demeaning, to someone.
Yeah, of course.
But in the other aspect, you think about the team that you build in order for Giannis to be successful. In order for Giannis to get to the NBA Finals, you had to get a guy who cannot shoot a team full of shooters. And if you take the guy who can't shoot out of a team full of shooters, you still have a team full of shooters.
Shooters, regardless, yeah.
They can shoot, and Milwaukee is one of the highest rated defensive teams in the league. So with him out, and you have an all-star level point guard in Drew Holiday, who is a premier two-way player. I mean, like, the team
one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA.
You still have a number one scoring option. Who, like, you can talk about whether or not Chris Middleton is the number 2 scoring option. I think he's the number 1 scoring option because he's a more skilled scorer.
And shot creator, yeah.
In the day, like on the days that Middleton is having an off night, he's still getting his shots. On the days,
and he gets to his spots too effectively.
And he's just missing. On the days when Giannis is having a bad night, he's either not getting to his spots, he's taking bad shots, or he's not in rhythm. That's not the case with Middleton. So I know if you ask me, that's my number 1 option. End of the game, I'm going to him because I know he can get a bucket. He's a 3-level scorer. So you still got that guy. I think that people writing them off, people writing the Bucks off, having him as, I think I saw like 5.5 point underdog going into game 1.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
To me, like I don't understand. That's just people that don't have an idea of the game.
I'm glad you're being realistic about it all, though, and not just going Suns. You got to be realistic, though, in a situation in the finals.
This is something I've dreamed of, bro. You got to be realistic because I'm not going to sit here and be like, yo, even getting this far, I was like, yo, I really don't want to see Milwaukee. I don't want to see the Nets. I was hoping I would see Atlanta because I'm like, bro, if it's Atlanta, I know we can like mollywop.
Run and gun it, yeah.
I'm not worried about Atlanta at all. But the Bucks have something that we don't really have, and that's bigs with real size. Like when we get in the rotation, you guys got Bobby Portis, I got Dario Saric. I don't know if I really like that. You know what I'm saying?
Portis is athletic.
He's going to come in and give me some good minutes. And I don't know. You know what I mean? That like, and if Brooklyn is going to do, I'm sorry, not Brooklyn, Milwaukee. If Milwaukee is, well, here's another thing with Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a team I don't think understands how to run an offense during a game because
Budenholzer runs weird offensive sets, though.
They have 2 very good strengths, and when one is more prevalent, they then try to use the other strength. And what I mean by that is when they get rolling and they're feasting in the paint, the low post, low block, hitting floaters, all of a sudden they want to start shooting threes. And whether they're hitting or whether they're not, they're still going to keep going. And they just get into that motion where, okay, the next 5 possessions, 4 of them have been threes that they shot up, and most of them haven't been within 10 seconds of the shot clock. You're just wasting time. You're not making a good possession. You're taking a shot. It's not high volume, and I mean it is, but that's when they're falling. So
very true, man.
Too many times when Milwaukee allows teams to get back into games because they're up by 15, they're up by 16, and instead of continuing to go down at that low post where they're eating and continuing to eat in that paint, they're shooting threes and they're not hitting them. And if they do that versus the Suns and they continue to like live by the 3, die by the 3 style, when they clearly have bigs who all have an offensive, every single big they have has an offensive game, unless it's like Thanasis. But everyone else is offensive game. And he's only playing like little spurts, and you're not asking him to do offense. So everyone else is an offensive game. Let them do what they do. Phoenix does not have a lot of bigs that can guard. This is not a big team. It's not. This team was built to
perimeter centric.
This team was built to get out of the West because in the West, every single team that's big like that you're worried about may have a big, but you're not really worried about them. You're worried about their wing players. You're worried about who they got on the perimeter. You're worried about their shooting. So the team is built to guard the perimeter. If I'm Coach Budenholzer, I'm looking at okay, Giannis, you got a game, figure out your stuff, get yourself healthy, don't even worry about it. But game 1, I'm taking over that paint. I'm just going at that paint because that's a weakness. And that's a clear weakness. You come out on the 3-point line, I think Mikal Bridges can probably guard Chris Middleton. In all honesty, with what
size-wise, matchup-wise, yeah.
If Mikal takes what he just saw Cam Reddish do to Chris Middleton and use that same speed, and Mikal has an even longer wingspan than Cam does, whose wingspan is ridiculous already. If he can just do that, because I watched Cam shut down Chris Middleton. Every time Cam came in the game, Chris Middleton didn't have. Remember that third quarter, he was going lights out.
Yeah, he was being highlighted for sure.
Shot stop falling as soon as Cam come in the game. So if I'm sure Mikal is watching tape, and if he can follow that kind of defensive scheme, and he's got the same kind of body state. But the number one thing with that I noticed with Cam and the way he's playing defense on Middleton is just Middleton is a guy that doesn't have a lot of speed. It's not a part of it's not something like that's ever been a part of his game, but it's just still not something he has really. And like Mikal got some speed. Our guys on the perimeter got speed. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see it. Like if you're telling me that this isn't like a good basketball matchup,
it's fairly even. In my opinion,
you're lying, bro. You're lying. Like these teams are evenly matched. Like I really don't know who's the hardcore favorite. I think it's going to go 7 more than likely because I don't think that there is
5 or 6,
there's a clear favorite. And I love that there's 2 mid-market teams, you know, 2 teams without a whole lot of pedigree. The Bucks have won 1 championship in their lifetime. The Suns have won none. The Bucks haven't been back to the finals since 1974, which, I mean, like, wow, you know? So
yeah, it's ridiculous to think about.
And I think this is the best part of the NBA and of supporting teams and organizations and why people, you know, are loyal to organizations and like why people who don't watch sports may not understand it. It's like, you know, you don't have any actual input in how the game goes. You have no input on your roster. You have no input on anything that actually goes into the talent that's on the floor. But you still have that support and your energy still means something. And when it gets to these moments where, you know, people have been fans for 10 years, like me, who's watched my team not make the playoffs for 10 years and still been a fan.
That's
and
how we
now the playoffs. Like I was geeked at just making the playoffs, bro. Just being in the playoffs, I was like, wow,
it's a great experience.
We were a number 2 seed in the playoffs. Like I was cool. We win 1 seed, like beat the Lakers. Wow, oh my God. We go on and then beat the Denver Nuggets. Oh my God. Not like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Sick, bro. No, it's crazy to think about for real.
And you like that's another thing about these playoffs. And I know people are gonna whine and complain about the injuries and how it's been sad to not see as much power as they want to see. And I understand there's this. It's not the same if you're not a basketball purist. A lot of people watch NBA playoffs. They're not NBA purists. They don't really love the game of basketball. If they love the game of basketball, they would be watching throughout the entire regular season. But when they come and they watch the playoffs, they're here for the drama. They're here for the big names. They're here for the show. And so when they don't see the show, they're like, this is. And I get that, but that's not for them. I don't really care about those people. But seeing a team like Atlanta, you know, a team that hasn't had much playoff success.
Nobody was expecting them to go that far, bro.
Nobody expected them to go that far. And I mean, what was it like? I think 4 of their starting 5 is under 25. Like that's a completely young team. You're talking about they're missing one of their key people. Like that's going to be a crazy team to look forward to next season. And that's a team nobody had on their radar. And that's even though that's like Atlanta is still a prominent market as far as where people go to live. It's not a big market. Basketball's related. It's not a lot of pedigree in Atlanta. I mean, there's no history as far as championships in Atlanta. So it's good to see teams and cities that do have things to offer to potential free agents and start to build a culture to begin to kind of level out the field as far as big destinations for free agents. I think that's dope to see because if Milwaukee can become one, if Atlanta can become one, if Phoenix can become one, if Denver could become one, like that, it makes, I think, the league
as a whole. It makes free agent stars get into this aspect where it's like, okay, maybe I can be the piece that jumps it all around. You know what I'm saying? It makes it more like leveled out compared to the typical, I'm gonna go join the super team, go play with KD and Kyrie. I mean, we saw kind of what happened. Like literally, like just because you're the most dominant super team in the league, it doesn't determine your fate that you're just going to have an easy ass path to the championship. You're not. Like Milwaukee fought with Brooklyn literally, and it shows. Like, yeah, we could, like you said, we could sit here and say injuries bared and injuries caused us not to win the game or whatever. But at the end of the day, the team won. So either way, it's a team effort. You're not going to sit there and say at the end of the day, well, it's Kevin Durant's fault they lost. Man dropped 49, 50 points, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, they still lost. So, like, all I see it as is that if the league continues to improve with these mid-market teams, we'll have way better basketball, bro. I promise you we will. Because, like you said, we wouldn't think the Suns and the Bucks would be in the finals. Yeah, like, we sat there and said, like, the belief of it can be possible the more as they kept winning. But in the beginning of the season, bro, we were talking in the beginning of the season, and Kim was on with us before too. We were saying like, there's no way, bro. Like, there's no way it will happen. So it's just crazy. Kent, what's your thoughts on it all, though? Like the whole playoff situation.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting, and Alex, you said it a little bit, is that people have been talking about the injuries and how that's changed everything. But I think people really want to find excuses for why their team isn't where the winning teams are. It's like last year when the Lakers won. Oh, it's a bubble. All right, so why didn't your team win it then if it was so easy? Like, same thing with these playoffs. So you're complaining about the injuries. So if there's a bunch of injuries, why did your team not win? It's with the Lakers. It's like, okay, I get it. AD was hurt, but so was Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul was really banged up for the beginning of that series. So
shoulder and all that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go back to using injuries as an excuse for anybody's success. I think success happens for a reason. So to look at the Suns, they played a full season together while the Lakers were sitting with AD missing the whole year. Braun missed a bunch of the year. The Nuggets, Jamal Murray missed a bunch of the year, and a lot of these teams. The Clippers were never going to be that good in late in games or have that good of chemistry because Kawhi likes to take nights off, and Paul George with injuries here. The Suns didn't do that. The Suns played the whole season together. I don't know. I don't think Chris Paul missed that many games. Like, he missed maybe what? Alex, you probably know better.
I think he missed maybe like 7 of them.
And so,
this was his most healthiest year too.
That was one of his
whole year.
And since probably he's been in like New Orleans or maybe early years with the Clippers, like this is probably his most healthy season. And that's why the Suns are so good, is they know how to play together. So that's my thing with them, is they won a bunch of games. They were the number 2 seed. I'm not going to say that they just got to this point because everybody else was injured. No, they have a lot of talent and a lot of chemistry. So, you look at Chris Paul coming in, leading this team like he did with Oklahoma City last year to the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And then on the other side, the Bucks, like, we're not going to sit here and act like they didn't have a great season and act like if Brooklyn had been healthy that they would have just easily swept Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's a really, really good team. They got as Alex said again, they had 2-time MVP, one of the best players in the league, Giannis, and Chris Middleton, and then they added Drew Holiday, who's probably I wouldn't say the best defensive guard, but he's up there. I don't know if y'all would put him in top 2, top 3 defensive guards in the league.
I would. Yeah,
it's ridiculous, and so that's a good team, man. And so I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I think it's going to be really interesting to look at how, if Giannis doesn't play these first 2 games, to see how Booker and Middleton go scoring, against each other versus how Chris Paul and Drew really match up. Because Chris Paul is a good defender too, but Drew has a little size. He's got a little size, so we'll see how he does against Chris Paul, who's, what's Chris Paul's about 6 feet, and what's Drew Holiday, like 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, he's about 6'3". Yeah. Drew's definitely got about probably 30 pounds on him.
Yeah,
he got some muscle.
That's a big guy, a big guard, big point guard.
No, that's for sure.
That's where I'm really interested to see how much Chris Paul can affect the game, because he's one of the greatest point guards we've ever seen, and then Drew Holiday on the other side is that good defensively. So, and look at what he's doing on the offensive end too. This guy is not some, and I don't think Patrick Beverley's that good, but he's not like Patrick Beverley where his supposed, only thing is defense. This guy can go and get 20, 25 a night in big series. So this is that matchup right there, that Paul Holiday matchup is going to be huge for me. And then I think the matchup that everybody's going to be watching is Booker versus Middleton. But then my other matchup that I'm really looking forward to is Ayton versus Lopez, because everybody for so long, and myself included.
Yeah, me too. I already know what you're going to say.
Going at DeAndre Ayton, calling him a bum for 2 years. He got drafted ahead of what, Luka and Trae?
Trae Young, yeah, literally.
And those guys are, Trae made it to an Eastern Conference final, and Luka's probably going to be the best player in our league for the next decade once LeBron retires. And there's arguments for other guys, but I think Luka's going to be the next face of the NBA. But DeAndre Ayton really, really, really stepped it up and showed who he was, and how much talent he has, especially with that game winner against the Clippers. I don't mean I want to leave that because we hate the Clippers. So
I was clowning, bro.
We do appreciate the Suns beating the Clippers because we couldn't have them going to the finals.
Man, bro, I thought we was gonna beat him in 5, bro. And then when we didn't do it in 5, I was so mad. I was like,
yeah, because I was like,
Vegas, bro. I was in Vegas. I was ready to just like go crazy, like buy a bottle or whatever. Paul George decided to show up, and I was like,
Yeah.
bro, all right, forget it. Just way to ruin my night, bro.
yeah, it was scary, bro, because too, like, you think of Ty Lue and what he did with Cleveland, bro. I was just thinking, like, bro, if he does it again, bro, I said, there's no way.
He did this playoffs, bro, coming back twice.
His strategy was lose the first 2, win 3, lose 4, win 5 and 6, and then get to 7. And that's the thing too, like the excitement of the playoffs this year was pretty dope to say, because even though the Lakers didn't go past you guys or whatever, I don't care about that. As long as the Clippers didn't win, that's all I was saying in my head. I was like, as long as the Clippers don't win, me being a Kentucky Wildcat fan, Kent knows, Alex, I just wanted to see D-Book get to the finals at that point. I had said if they don't make it, if the Lakers don't make it, I'm going for the Suns, bro, because there's no way I want to see the Clippers beat nobody, bro, and gets the championship, bro. I would be sick. I'll be sick. Kawhi sat out half of the year, most of the playoffs, and you're going to tell me that he's going to get a championship again? No, bro, ain't no way. But
he would have been like the first player to do it on like 3 teams.
Right. 4 teams. So 3 teams. Yeah, 3 teams, because the Spurs, the Raptors, that would have been crazy though. But I don't know, like I was just thinking, like, Paul George proved who he was though at the end of the day. Like despite falling short, you got to give your credit to a guy that goes all out and does what he has to do to win the game. He did his part. Major props to him. Major props to a guy like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant fell short, but at the same time, he did all he could. And that's all you can expect out of a superstar player. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, you can sit there and say, like I said, I need my other guy. I needed my point guard. I needed my shooting guard. Either way, you still got to compete night in and night out. It doesn't matter. You can't have that excuse. That's what a superstar does. If you're built for it, you're built for it. I mean, so
now where I want to go with that is we've got one legitimate superstar left, right? And that's Giannis. Okay, I anticipate he's coming back. If not by game 2, by game 3,
maybe 3. Yeah.
So let's say by
3.
Let's say for all instances, all fairness, let's say the series is tied up 1-1 going into 3. All right, Giannis is coming back. As a complete unbiased person watches NBA basketball, there is nobody on the Phoenix Suns who stands a chance.
Nobody
at stopping Giannis Antetokounmpo. There is nobody. Okay,
Ayton maybe at the rim, but no. Yeah, you're right.
Because if Ayton's Ayton's only the guard who plays a 5, right? And if Ayton does guard him, he's probably gonna end up in foul trouble. So
that's facts.
At this point, my disclaimer. Okay, there's only one reason I'm okay with the Milwaukee Bucks possibly winning a championship. Only one reason, because obviously I'm Suns. Mm-hmm. That's because they have 4 Nigerians on their team. That's it. If they win, I'll be okay with that because they have that. But back to my point, they've got a superstar, all right, who I know no one on my team can stop. If in those 4 games that are left, he does not average 30, he does not average 12, and at least 3 in another category. If he doesn't average 30, 12, and at least 3 in another category, we need to have a serious conversation. I'm going to be completely honest with you, bro, because you can't be this dominant. You can't be this, like, you can't be a literal cheat code. Because I'm gonna be honest with you,
it's a game code, bro.
He has a chance to win a chip and like actually cement his legacy and low key come into a conversation about like one of the greatest starts of a player's career as far as going in a GOAT. Like he has the beginning of a because then you'd have 2 MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, NBA championship. Probably would make.
I think he's been a most improved. Maybe, yeah. He has every title. Yeah,
he's been an All-Star Game MVP. So he's got a plethora of awards. Like you has a chance to literally cement a legacy. Like, and that's why I think this is so big for him. And if my team wasn't the Phoenix Suns, I would be looking at him like this is literally your time. Like because I don't know if you're gonna have another opportunity like this where the team that you're facing isn't really worried about you, because that's the number one thing that happens when you become a champion. The team that comes right out, the person who wins, everyone is worried about building a team that can beat you. And if you're telling me that Giannis wins, or let's say Giannis does win, everyone's going to be worried about like trying to stop that team, right? Mm-hmm. If he doesn't win, and no one's really going to be worried about that because in everyone's mind, it's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo is the same player we've always thought. They only got to the finals because the East was weak, and if everyone else was healthy, they wouldn't have made it that far because the Bucks are moving.